So good day everyone. I'm Anthony Orlanda taking a Bachelor of Arts in English Language. And I am here to discuss you about the artist medium. My topic is all about the artist medium. So when we say medium, it refers to the materials an artist is using to create his masterpiece. So here are the list of the materials that an artist is using to create a beautiful masterpiece of art. Medium refers to the material used by an artist. Technique is the manner in which the artist controls the medium to achieve desired effect. Combined arts are those whose mediums can be both seen and heard and which exist in both space and time. Painting is the art of creating meaningful effects on a flat surface by the use of pigment. Architecture is the art of designing and constructing a structure. Sculpture is the construction of figure by putting together modules, segments of the material. Let's start in medium and technique. Medium, which comes from the Latin word medium, denotes the means by which an artist communicates his idea. These are the materials which are used by an artist to interpret his feelings or thoughts. Many mediums has been used in creating different works of art. The architect uses wood, bamboo, bricks, stone, concrete, and various building materials. The painter uses pigments on woods or canvas to recreate reality of nature. A sculptor uses steel, marble, bronze, metal, and wood. A musician uses instruments to produce a message, and a literary writer uses words. Thus, medium is very essential in arts. On the basis of medium, the arts are primarily classified as visual and auditory. Visual arts are those whose mediums can be seen and which occupy space. These are grouped into two classes: dimensional or two-dimensional arts, which include painting, drawing, printmaking, and photography, and the three-dimensional arts, which include sculpture, community planning, industrial designs, and crafts like ceramics and furniture. The auditory arts are those whose mediums can be heard and which are expressed in time. These are music and literature. The combined arts are those whose mediums can be used both seen and heard and which exist in both space and time. These include dance, opera, drama, and film. Along with the music, there are also known as performing arts, an art form which depicts a significant event and is presented before an audience. All arts are conveyed meaning, and this may be enjoyed through either the visual or the auditory sense, or both. The manner in which the artist controls his medium to achieve the desired effect. It is the ability which he fulfills and technical requirements of his particular work of art. It has something to do with the way he manipulates his medium to express his idea in the artwork. Now is the artist and his medium. The artist thinks, feels, and gives shape to the vision in terms of his medium. When an artist uses a particular medium, he believes that his choice can be expressed the idea he wants to convey. At times, an artist employs more than one medium to give meaning to his creative production. Oftentimes, the matter of selecting the medium depends entirely on the artist himself. He normally selects the materials that can be handled with ease, that would best suit his plan, and adequately bring out the qualities he wants to show. The artist must love, respect, and understand his medium to make it easier for him to expand his knowledge and improve his skill in his chosen area. The artist and his technique. Artists differ from one another in technique even they use the same medium. A musician technique is his ability to make sounds the way he wants it. For instance, a pianist may sound different from another pianist even as they handle the same instrument and play the same musical composition. Technique differs in the various arts. An artist's technique in one medium will be quite different from his technique in another. A painter may have a fine technique in watercolor but a poor one in oil. The distinction between an art and craft may be made on the basis of the technique used. For an artist, technique is not the end but the means, while the craftsman, technique is the end. The making of the piece of sculpture, for example, is not the same as making a chair. While both require technique, knowledge and competence, creativity, and apparently comes into play into the work of the sculptor, technique thus is an important aspect that distinguishes an art from a craft. Now, mediums of visual arts. Visual arts are those arts that can be perceived with our eyes. The most common visual arts are painting, sculpture, and architecture. Their mediums are discussed as follows. Next is painting. Painting is the art of creating meaningful effects on a flat surface by the use of pigments. Different mediums are used in painting. Each medium exerts a pronounced effect on the finished product, is capable of varied treatment, and determines its own stroke. These mediums are applied to wet plaster, canvas, wood, or paper. Watercolor. Watercolor is difficult to handle because producing warm and rich tones using this medium proves to be a challenge. On the contrary, watercolor pigments invite brilliance and varieties of hues. Simple and clear, spontaneous is in its principal essence, while changes may be made once this paint has been applied. Such changes normally tend to make the color less luminous. These effects are rendered by watercolor artists through some techniques. An example of such technique is the method of gouache or opaque watercolor painting. In the major effect are caused by the white paper itself. The gouache is done by mixing zinc white with the regular watercolor paints to tone them down, giving the appearance of sobriety suitable for dramatic purposes. Is fresco. Fresco is a painting method done on a moist plaster surface with colors around in water or a lime water mixture. Fresco must be done quickly because it is an exacting medium. The moment the paint is applied to the surface, the color dries into plaster and the painting becomes an integral part of the wall. The image becomes permanently fixed and almost impossible to remove. An example of fresco painting is Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam in the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Next is tempera. Tempera paints are mineral pigments mixed with egg yolk or egg white and ore. The egg-based emulsion binds the pigments to the surface. Tempera is characterized by its film-forming properties and rapid drying rate. It requires a more deliberate technique than oil because it does not possess the flexibility of oil. Throughout the Middle Ages and the early Renaissance, tempera was one of the favorite mediums of many painters before oil was adopted. Tempera painting is usually done on a wooden panel made Very smooth with plaster called gesso. Gesso is chalk and gum. Since this medium dries quickly, corrections are difficult to make, thus the artist must be precise and exact in his work. It is a well-designed medium for careful detail. One distinguishing advantage of tempera is its luminous tone, the colors are being clear and beautiful. Next is pastel. Pastel is a stick of dried paste made of pigment ground with chalk and compounded with gum water. It is very flexible medium whose colors are luminous. In spite of the richness and varied effects of it yields, pastels are less popular than the other mediums because it is difficult to preserve the finished product in its original state. Some artists use a fixing medium or protecting surface, such as glass, but when the chalk rubs off, the image loses some of its brilliance. Encaustic. Encaustic is one of the early mediums used by the Egyptians for painting portraits on mummy cases. This is done by applying wax-colored peaks with heat. Painting with wax produces luster and radiance, making subjects appear at their best in portraits. Next is oil. Oil painting is one of the most expensive art activities today because of the prohibitive cost of materials. It is the heaviest of painting medium oil. Painting pigments are mixed with linseed oil and applied to the canvas. One good quality of oil paint as a medium is its flexibility. The artist may use a brush, palette knife, or even his bare hands when applying paint on his canvas. In some cases, we do not even notice the artist's strokes because of the paint on applied very smoothly. One distinctive characteristic of oil paint compared with other mediums is that it dries slowly and the painting may be changed and worked over for a long period of time. Because of this, it is possible to apply a great deal of corrections without much difficulty. Paintings are done in oil appears glossy and last long. Acrylic. Acrylic is a medium used popularly by contemporary painters because of the transparency and quick drying characteristics of watercolor and the flexibility of oil combined. This synthetic paint is mixed with acrylic emulsion as binder for coating the surface of the artwork. The acrylic paint do not tend to break easily, unlike oil paints, which turn yellowish or darker over a period of time. Mosaic. Mosaic is the art of putting together small pieces of colored stones or glass called tesserae to create an image. The tesserae are most often cut into squares and glued on a surface with plaster or cement. Mosaic is usually classified as painting, although the medium is not strictly pigment. Mosaic is an art important feature of Byzantine churches. A prominent religious artwork in Manila done in mosaic is found in the altar of Santa Cruz Church. It shows a wounded white lamb, symbolizing Christ, with a stream that flows down directly to the tabernacle. Stained glass. Stained glass is an artwork is common in Gothic cathedrals and churches. It is made by combining small pieces of colored glass held together by bands of lead. It is also a kind of patchwork. In large windows, the lead is reinforced by heavy iron bars that form heavy backlines in the picture. The pictures in the stained glass commonly depict the lives of saints and in effect, also serve as a means of religious instruction among Christians. Beautiful stained glass windows showing scenes from the Bible are commonly found in Philippine churches. Next is tapestry. Tapestry. Tapestry or what you want to call. Tapestry is fabric produced by hand weaving colored threads upon a warp. The woven designs often end up pictorials, wall hangings, and furniture covering. During the Middle Ages, they were hung on the wall of palaces and cathedrals on festive occasions to provide warmth. Next is drawing. Drawing is usually done on a paper using pencil, pen and ink, or charcoal. It is the most fundamental of all skills necessary in arts. Drawing has always been considered as a very good training for artists because it makes one concentrate on the use of line. Shading can also be used to make drawings more lifelike and realistic. Some of the world's best known drawings are by the Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. He drew everything from animals and birds to ideas for flying machines. Next is pencil and ink and charcoal. Drawings can be done with different kinds of mediums, the most common of which is pencil. Pencil leads graphite are graded in different degrees of hardness or softness. Grades are chosen depending on the kind of drawing of the artist that will undertake. For line work, a hard pencil lead is applied. When working on a granular surface, soft pencils are used because they invite effects of mass and texture of gray. Ink, one of the oldest mediums still in use, offers a great variety of qualities, depending on the tools and techniques used in application. India ink, which comes in liquid form, is the favorite medium of comic strip illustrators and cartoonists. Chinese ink, meanwhile, comes in solid sticks that are dissolved in water before they are used. Charcoal is a carbonaceous material obtained by heating wood or other organic substances in the absence of oxygen. It is used in representing broad masses of light and shadow. Like drawings and pencils, soft charcoals are produce the darkest value, while the hardest produces the lightest tone. Bistre. Bistre is a brown pigment extracted from the soot of wood and often used in pen and wash drawings. Next is crayons. Crayons are pigments bound by wax and compressed into painted sticks used for drawing. It is especially popular among children in the elementary grades. Crayons adhere better on paper surface. Next is silver point. To produce a silver point artwork, the artist uses a silver stylus to produce a thin grayish on specially prepared paper. Silver point drawings were popular during the Renaissance period. Printmaking. A print is anything printed on a surface that is direct result from the duplication process. The painting or graphic image, usually done in black ink on white paper, becomes the artist's plate. Some calendar pictures and Christmas cards are reproduced through printing. One of the advantages of printmaking is the ease which one can make multiple copies of the original drawing. Lithography. Lithography is a surface printing done from an almost smooth surface which has been treated chemically or mechanically so that some surface areas will print and others will not. Lithographic painting, also known as planographic process, involves the process in which grease repels water and fatty substances stick to each other. The artist draws his design using a greasy crayon or pencil on a slab of special limestone or a zinc plate. The drawing is then fixed with an acid solution. Afterwards, a greasy ink is spread all over the surface area with a roller. A print can then made by pressing any piece of paper on the plate. Sculpture. In choosing a subject for a sculpture, the most important thing to consider is the material. The materials available for sculpture are limitless. Each of these materials presents a challenge to the sculptor's creativity. Stone. Stone is the hard and brittle substance formed from mineral and earth material. The finished product is granular and dull in appearance. Stones are normally used for gravestones in cemeteries. Stones include sandstone, granite, basalt, marble, and limestone. Next is jade. Jade is a fine stone, usually colored green, and used widely in ancient China. It is highly esteemed as an ornamental stone for carving and fashion jewelry. Today, it is made into women's fashion accessories because it carries certain social significance. It is believed to symbolize virtues such as faithfulness, wisdom, and charity. Next is ivory. Ivory, which comes from the main parts of tusks of elephants, is the hard white substance used to make carvings and billiard balls. In the home of some well-to-do families in the Philippines, faces and hands of images of saints are made of ivory. The bodies are made of carved and painted wood. Next is metals. Metals include any of a class of elementary substances such as gold, silver, or copper, all of which are crystalline when solid and many of which are characterized by capacity, ductility, conductivity, and pellicular luster when freshly fractured. Being ductile, metals can be transformed into fine wires or threads. They can be shaped or deformed under great pressure without breaking. Traditionally, the metals used as mediums for sculpture are copper, brass, bronze, gold, silver, and lead. Aluminum is a recent addition to the list. Bronze is one of the oldest alloys of metal composed chiefly of copper and tin with color. It is one of the most popular metals for cast sculpture. Bronze as a material is strong, durable, and resistant to any atmospheric corrosion. It is best suited for sculptures in open or outdoor places like parks and plazas, as well as for large-scale modeling. Polishing will give the bronze sculpture a shiny finish. Brass, an alloy of copper and zinc, is not popularly used by contemporary artists because of its limitations as a medium. It has many practical uses, as brass does not rust and takes a brilliant polish. Copper, which has a peculiar brilliance, is used as a coating medium. It is basically shaped by hammering and fashioned into relief forms. The rich reddish color and strength offers many possibilities to the sculpture and the craftsman. One characteristic of this medium is its resistance to atmospheric corrosion. Gold and silver are used as casting materials for small objects like medals. Bronze is one of the oldest alloys of metal composed chiefly of copper and with tin color. Gold and silver are used as casting materials for small objects like medals, coins, and pieces of jewelry. Because they are quite expensive, they are used either for personal accessories or for religious adornments. Lead, a bluish gray metal, is used for casting and forging. It is a flexible and permanent material. With the help of a welding torch iron, it can be worked into a variety of unique and exciting forms. Plaster. Plaster is composed of lime, sand, and water. It is worked on an armature of metal wires and rods in addition to various metals and fibers. It is applied on walls and ceilings and allowed to harden and dry. The medium is used extensively in making mannequins, models, molds, architectural decorations, and other indoor sculpture. Another one is clay. Clay is natural earthly material that is plastic when wet. It consists essentially of hydrated silicates of aluminum and is used for making bricks and ceramics. Clay is generally fragile, so it becomes necessary to cast it in another durable material. The surface of the finished product made of clay may be painted or glazed. Earthware, commonly referred to as terracotta or baked earth, is cheap compared with stone or bronze. Brilliant globes are made possible by glazing. Like all pottery, terracotta is easily broken. As a medium for sculpture, it has been used during the early times. Most Oriental sculptures came in the form of terracotta. Next is glass. Glass is a medium that is hard, brittle, non-crystalline, more or less transparent substances produced by fusion, usually consisting of mutually dissolved silica and silicates, and contains soda and lime. It can be molded in various colors and shapes. It is used to make beautiful but fragile figurines. Coins and pieces of jewelry, because they are quite expensive, they are used either for personal accessories for religious adornments. Lead, a bluish-gray metal, is used for casting and forging. It is a flexible and permanent material. With the help of welding iron torch, it can be worked into a variety of unique and exciting forms. And last, wood. Wood as a medium is easier to carve than any of other mediums available because it can be subjected into a variety of treatment. It is lighter and softer to carve despite having greater tensile strength than stone. Hence, it can be used in long pieces without breaking. The character of the grain and the color of the wood are the most important qualities that a sculptor considers in choosing what kind of wood he will use. Wood should be treated to preserve its quality. Common woods used for sculpture are dapdap, white lauan, oak, walnut, mahogany, nara, and dao. They are selected for aesthetic purposes and permanence.
So that's my report about the artist medium. Those are the list of the materials an artist is using to create art. Those arts help him or her or the artist to focus on his objectives to create a piece of art. Art is now a part of our world. Art gives a beautiful scenery to our nature, to our surroundings, so we must keep the arts very clean and beautiful. We must take care of it, and we must support all the artists that makes art to just make our world beautiful and having a good design. And that's all. I'm Anthony Orlanda again. Thank you for watching and have a good day.